Hello, my friends. So this is going to be a rant about knowing our limitations and understanding the extent of our knowledge. So stick around. So this rant was actually first started out as a thought I was having about understanding our weaknesses and our limitations in our practice and in our magical lives. Then I also came across a video of an interview of a coven group. And then I also listened to another person who talked with a gentleman on a podcast. And each three of these things, oddly enough, I believe are interrelated and comes back down to the first point that I wanted to talk about. And that point is understanding our limitations and understanding our weaknesses. And now you may be wondering, well, why would I want to know my limitations? Why would I want to know my weaknesses? Why would I not want to know the extent of my knowledge? Why would I want to reveal the weak points of my practice? And I'll tell you exactly why you want to understand the weak points of your practice. Because if you don't understand your weak points, you don't know what you need to work on. It is very important, obviously, to understand the things inside of our practice that give us strength and empower us and make us better magicians, better people, better husbands, better fathers, better brothers, better friends. But there are also parts of ourselves which drag us down or hold us back or limit us or make us tyrannical or make us inadequate, or there's any number of different things that can be considered to be a weakness. And these parts of ourselves are very important to understand because it can help us to grow and become a better person or a more fulfilled person, whatever you want to call it. It is said that over the Oracle of Delphi was written, "Know thyself." It was not know what is only comfortable for you to know. Know that part, forget the rest. It says, know thyself. So what that means is you have to know yourself. Know who you are. We are thinking animals. We still have all of our basic instincts. We also have that element of intelligence which makes us look up at the stars and go, I wonder what's up there and how it got there. No other animal on this entire planet that we know of does that. Only us. So there's always been this connection of what is the higher, what is the part that makes us human, what is that part? But then that animal part of us, that other part, we kind of ignore, neglect, and we think that it's lesser, whereas it's not lesser. Fear helps us. Pride helps us. Desire helps us. All of these very basic instincts help us if we use them to our advantage and not try to suppress and ignore them. I often hear people talking about the ego. You have to erase the ego. You have to overcome the ego and transcend it. Well, no, you don't. The ego is very important to your survival. What drives you to be a better person. It is what drives you to be a better father, be a better brother, be a better husband. It drives you to become more than you are because you don't want to look like a jerk or an idiot or a fool. It drives you further. Ego can definitely become your master. And if your ego becomes your master, then your weakness becomes arrogance. You do need ego, but don't let ego become a master. It's basically kind of like everything in moderation. So the second part of this rant is understanding the limitations of our knowledge. So in this video, I don't want to put anyone who participated in this video down. I understand that they are people who are loved and respected within the pagan community, and they did this probably with the best intentions, but what happened was that once the media got a hold of it, the media basically created two videos, which I'll show you in a minute. One, they just kind of let all of these things that these people say slip through and be emphasized and come out. Whereas the other one that they created was very kind of broad and simplistic. The media often is kind of a double-edged sword because the media can either give you a great audience and make you look great, would know what you're talking about, and get your word out there so that you have a huge audience rather than just a limited amount. Unfortunately, if you say something that maybe you kind of regretted, usually the media will take that and exploit it. Or they might have another agenda, and what they'll actually do is use your words and everything, splice it together and cut it together, and then make you look however they want you to look. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Welcome, death and the mysteries. We welcome you.
We welcome you.
This is modern witchcraft. Wicca, practiced in secret for centuries for fear of persecution, but now one of the fastest growing religions in the UK.
And the spark of inspiration. We welcome you.
We welcome you.
In a community hall in South London, a Wiccan high priestess is preparing the evening's ritual. On the table in front of her, a collection of objects that will be used to invoke spirits and channel the flow of magical energy. I've been invited along to see what this particular version of paganism is all about.
All it tells me out of my life is the inspiration of my own soul. Sometimes the gods can inspire me, but they do not order, they do not control, they do not have any dominance. They're simply, we have a relationship.
So there's nothing that says, love thy neighbour as thyself, or do not steal.
We have the 8 Wiccan virtues, yeah. But these virtues are mirth, reverence, pride, humility, compassion.
Sorry, I'm not testing you.
No, it's just you know. But we have a series of these things which are all about that, just as we do in any other religion. But we're a religion of peace, of brotherhood, and of love for all things.
But it doesn't seem to have a moral backbone necessarily.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
The mirth and reverence.
Lords and ladies of the East, of inspiration and the coming spring, we welcome you.
We bless with the pentagram, 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 we bless with the pentagram.
What is the appeal, do you think, to people?
It's counterculture, it's less of a religion, more of a current, a tradition, a movement, as it were. It's you get to take your clothes off, you get to dance around a bonfire in the woods, you get to get drunk, you get to sort of drum and dance and take exotic substances. I can't see a problem with that. And the only sort of like rule is you shall be free from slavery. So, fault me on that.
Unlike many conventional religions, Wicca is not patriarchal, and for that reason, as is clearly demonstrated here, women seem particularly interested in it.
People watching this will probably make their own judgments about it, but the facts speak for themselves. Between 2001 and 2011, the number of people who identify with Wicca, which is what we're seeing here, increased by 4,000. The number of people who identified as pagans increased by 26,000. So something is very appealing about this.
For people who've grown up with Christianity in the atmosphere, really written into the scaffolding of a culture, if they're looking for something that perhaps feels a bit fresher to them, and they're looking at new options, then paganism might be something they can explore. It's also very centred on the individual. It's very much about your own practice, your own relationship with nature, and an ability really to make it whatever you want it to be.
The medieval church would have you believe that paganism is devil worship, and that's a myth that's been perpetuated through the centuries. Essentially, it's an appreciation of Mother Nature, and it's thriving in an age that's hostile towards authority, hierarchy, and big institutions. Richard Suchet, Sky News.
So in this video, these people, this one lady in particular, has her own lifestyle choices, which she kind of brings forth in this video. And that's fine for her, but it does not reflect every Wiccan out there. Not every Wiccan, including myself, engages in this sort of activity. And lastly, the thing that I want to talk about is understanding our limitations of our knowledge of a tradition that we have been studying, or that we feel we might know about a certain topic, and we feel that we can speak on a topic about it, or we can speak on the subject because we know enough about it. The truth of the matter is, sometimes it's best to keep your mouth shut. Sometimes it's good to talk about a subject that you know and you feel very comfortable talking about, and refusing to talk about another topic because that's not your tradition, you don't know enough about that, and if they really want to find out more, they can ask somebody who follows that tradition. I think that's a very good thing to understand. Know your strengths about what you can talk about. Understand what are your weaknesses where you say, you know what, I can't really talk on that subject. Myself, I feel very comfortable talking about Wicca. However, if somebody was to ask me about Druidism, Voodoo, or the Golden Dawn, I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable talking about that because I don't have enough knowledge and experience with those things to talk about it and feel comfortable that I am giving the most accurate information as I possibly can. The reason why I do this is because the media, YouTube, whatever, has a possibility of being seen by so many people. The interpretation that the audience is going to get, if I give the wrong information, I can make that group or that tradition look bad or look foolish or misrepresent them. So this came out when I was listening to somebody who was interviewed for a podcast, and he actually only spoke rather briefly on the topic of Wicca, which was kind of good, and I was going to leave a comment, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to let it go. It's not a big deal. But we should stick to what we know. We can say, I don't know that much about the tradition, but here's someone else who does. So, thank you so much, and blessed be.